Okay. Um, Let me view the stream. How's my audio coming through? Okay. So, sorry I am late. Like shit. Um, Let me close that out. Go to there. Have that ready. Um, Go back to the studio. Um, so nausea has been kicking my ass today. It is what it is. Um, my son told me a very interesting fact yesterday, and it kind of surprised me. I wasn't prepared for it. Um, so let's start here where we begins. Beautiful, beautiful process that my son put me on. Um, where's that? Okay, there's that. All right. Let's go here. Sorry, I am not very prepared. I did not do a massive ton of research into this, so we're going to do research together. Let me enlarge this for you guys. I asked how many glitter companies um exist. Like how many in general? Just how many glitter companies are on the planet? And there are quite a few small companies, but there are only two major players. Um Meadowbrook and Meadowbrook Inventions, I'm sorry, and Glitterex. Both are based out of New Jersey. Um there are out of the entire world, from what I understand, or at least in America, the two biggest companies, there's only two that make all the glitter that is mass produced. And then I find out there is, oh, fudge. Sorry, couldn't get that to cooperate. There's actually an entire Reddit to glitter going missing. Evidently, in 2018, we had a glitter shortage of some sort, I guess you could say. And I don't know what happened from there. It's extremely bizarre. Um Sorry, one second. So, very strange circumstance. Why are there only two major glitter corporations in the United States? Why? I don't get it. Anybody else have a clue how this works? Cause I'm curious. I'm really curious why there's only two. Um, we'll do a little bit more digging. Um, Hold on. Nope, not what I want. Hold on. My hands hate me. Uh, I'm trying to see something. Hold on. Okay, nope, I'll have to deal with that later. All right. So, um, hold on. Something weird just happened. Hold on. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, never mind. It still works. So, back to this. Boats are the number one buyer along with the military industry for equipment and whatever nonsense it is. Um, they're the biggest ones for glitter. I didn't know that. Um, this is that endless thread dude. Hold on. I think yeah, this guy covered it. Hold on. So this is from November 8th, 2019. Go away. Um, too long, didn't listen. Oh my god. Wow. They the full transcript. Okay. So is there a way to hold on.
Support for Endless Thread comes from MathWorks, creator of MATLAB and Simulink software for technical computing and model-based design. MathWorks, accelerating the pace of discovery in engineering and science. Learn more at mathworks.com. Support for this podcast comes from Is Business Broken, a podcast from BU's Mehrotra Institute that explores questions like, why are executives paid so much? Do they
Okay, yep.
deserve it? Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels, each inspired by local college towns. These stays are always original and never boring.
Yes.
Okay, but can we let Frank
Here we
Ocean
go.
sing it for
Let's
us?
listen. Glitter.
Did you catch it? Did you catch the topic of today's episode?
Glitter. 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 Glitter.
You also noticed that comedian it might
Okay,
get
there we go.
solved today.
Don't get ahead of yourself, Glitter Boy.
I will accept this new moniker as a compliment. For today's episode, I'll only answer to Glitter Boy.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Glitter Boy.
Today's episode,
The Great Glitter Mystery.
Let's listen to this. 'Cause this
I'm
is
Ben Brock
interesting.
Johnson.
I'm Amory Sievertson, and you're listening to Endless Thread.
The show featuring stories found in the vast ecosystem of online communities called Reddit.
We're coming to you from WBUR, Boston's NPR station.
Okay. I want to shout out former Endless Thread intern Noah Boston, who found this Reddit post and the resulting comment thread.
Which went deep on glitter.
Yes. And the person behind that post?
My name is Zach Brook. I am an independent writer. I currently live in Toledo, Ohio. One of my favorite subreddits is the Unresolved Mysteries subreddit. I will say that, the constant...
Okay, you can pause it here. All right, I just wanted to make sure there was a way to pause it, because I'm probably going to do some commenting in this. There is a lot of information about this that I had absolutely no clue about. And this is my son who brought this to my attention. Glitter in the military may be used for chaff, a form of missile defense. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that the military used glitter, and hell, I didn't even know there was only 2 glitter companies. 2 actual major glitter companies in the United States. Like, okay, so this is new. My son told me to learn about this, so here I am learning about this entire glitter mystery from 2018. I had no clue. In 2018, I was working, busting my ass 40 it was like 50 to 60 hours a week, depending. So it got a little bit chaotic. I somehow missed that there was a glitter issue. So they're just starting. So let's listen in.
Murders, disappearances get a little grisly and a little demoralizing. So I am on the lookout for unusual mysteries, which I think this glitter one definitely fits in that fold.
Zach had found this article that a lot of people read in the New York Times Magazine that was all about glitter. What is it? How is it? Where is it?
The answer to the last question is apparently everywhere, which we will talk more about. The answer of what is it, which we will also discuss further, is briefly very thin plastic coated in very thin metal. But the biggest question that pops up, who buys it? This article was written by a reporter named Katie Weaver, and well done, Katie, because there's this one intriguing moment in her piece that launched this whole discussion on Reddit, with thousands and thousands of comments.
Katie Weaver is describing getting a tour of a glitter-making company in New Jersey called GlitterX, which people at the company were really hesitant to give in the first place. They don't want to let her see the machines or even be on the manufacturing floor, really, let alone describe how the machines work, which is odd. But the real mystery moment comes when the company rep won't tell Katie what industry is the biggest customer of GlitterX. This is how it plays out in the piece.
Can you tell me which industry serves as GlitterX's biggest market?
No, I absolutely know that I can't.
But you know what it is?
Oh, God, yes. And you would never guess it. Let's just leave it at that.
Can you tell me why you can't tell me?
Because they don't want anyone to know that it's glitter.
She never gets an answer. For some people, that kind of mysterious no comment is like, whatever. But for us, it's catnip.
I was like, oh man, it's something unusual. It's something bizarre, you know? My first thought was that, yes, this was something that if people found out it was glitter, there'd be a little mini freak out, and like the industry would have to do damage control. Kind of like, I'm not calling glitter pink slime, but remember when pink slime happened? Yeah. Something like that. People would freak out if they knew that, something that they thought was valuable, or definitely that they paid a lot of money for, or something that they consume in their bodies was in part like this metallic or plastic glitter.
Okay. Can we get to talking again?
Not gonna lie, before this story, I never thought glitter was a thing worth thinking about.
And neither did Zach, really.
I will always think of glitter as something that you use, in daycare or early education when you're making like little homemade birthday cards for mom.
And I have to agree with them. When I think of glitter, all I'm thinking about is, the art projects and my daughter getting it from one end of the house to the other when she was young, like everywhere. My clothes were covered in glitter one time, and that was a mess to clean up. And I bet there's still glitter in that house to this day. I would bet there still is, if it's still standing. So, glitter is something I didn't pay much attention to, other than, hey, there's a ton of it everywhere, and people use it in all kinds of things.
But this New York Times story, it raised a lot of questions, especially who this mystery buyer was.
The comments on Zach's Reddit post start rolling in with tons of theories. Makeup, for instance. Sure. Greeting cards. Sure. But we are talking about an industry where the final product isn't obviously made with glitter. An industry that, according to a company rep at GlitterX, doesn't really want people to know they are using glitter. So people on the thread really dig in.
Maybe it's part of a cloaking paint used for vehicles used in the U.S. military, or a food product. Or maybe someone was dumping it into beach sand to make their resort beach sparkle more. All of which were theories floated in the thread.
And that seems to be as far as anyone has gotten on this story. Theories. Which means I see that old endless thread bat signal in the sky.
Don't worry, guys. There's a couple of dorks with a microphone, a recorder, and a knack for diving down rabbit holes and searching out dead ends at your service. A couple of dorks with a lot of hope.
Hope and friends in low places, like the muckraking business. So let's call one of those muckrakers up.
Hello?
David Boeri.
Hey,
Good morning.
That's a voice that's becoming very recognizable.
David Boeri is probably known best for spending many years as WBUR's senior investigative reporter. He's covered Whitey Bulger's gangster reign of terror, the federal trial of the Boston Marathon bomber, but his muckrake was recently traded in for tree trimmers.
I have peaches, pears, and apples, and I'm having record seasons in all of them.
He tries to get out, we pull him back in.
David, I know that, you're a very, very serious investigative journalist, but we need you to help us investigate the origins and largest buyers of glitter. Do you think you're up for it?
Polyethylene, aluminum.
Yep.
Yeah, it brings me back to my chemistry class and to disco balls in the 1970s.
Okay, so you're intimately acquainted with glitter, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's the one thing I know is it's a very closed industry. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting.
Closed industry doesn't sound good. And it matches what we've learned about glitter so far. But our buddy David Boeri, he gives good pep talk.
If you're an investigative reporter or detective, you are driven by the certainty that almost all things are knowable. You know, one of the great answers to one of the questions I once asked was, I don't know the answer to that question, but I think I know someone who does.
To find someone who does, David made a pretty pointed suggestion, something we had already been talking about.
I'd start in the basic gumshoe arena. Tell me again where the factory is and where the headquarters are.
You're a man after my own heart.
Yeah.
You're a man after my own heart.
This particular factory, GlitterX, is located in Cranford, New Jersey.
If you have a little time on your hands, I want you to figure out what the closest bars are, because a lot of times employees go out to drink on their way home. When I started out and I wanted information, I started hanging out with cops, state cops, and I found out what their watering holes were. And so I started hanging out in the watering holes, and that's how I got into the state police Bulger task force.
Interesting.
This is one of about 1 million ideas David had. All of them seemed like good, if dicey, ideas.
One is you got to go into the court system, into the civil court system. Where did he go to school? Where did he go to graduate school? What clubs does he belong to? Think about this. If you work there and you're in a company uniform, they have laundry services. But then there's the more subtle approach of stealing the garbage, of doing dumpster dives, and then opening the bags when you get home to find out what you might see in there.
Again, all of these ideas are dicey, but going to the source of the mystery seems like the fastest, most direct solution.
If we get into some kind of trouble, will you pick up the phone if we call?
Oh, yeah. And if you call from jail, I can put you on to any number of criminal defense attorneys with my friends.
Yes.
Yeah, but, if you turn over enough rocks, you'll find the slugs, the worms, and the glitter.
Meanwhile, we set out to turn over some rocks in New Jersey. Some New Jersey rocks.
God, this is suburbia. Jersey suburbs.
The Jerseyest suburbiest.
Hey, Amory and I kind of come in
jumping
hot and
ahead.
make a couple of rookie mistakes right off the bat.
I'm jumping ahead on some of this because it's just them mumbling, like literally talking whatever to fill the space and the time. According to this, it's a 42-minute video, but I bet it's only 15 minutes worth of knowledge, and the other 30-something minutes are just them putting in useless music and gap fillers. So here we go.
We go there on a Monday. Maybe not the best day for catching people after work at the bar, unless they really hate their jobs. But we also get there in the middle of a sunny afternoon, which is not a great time to be casing the joint or rifling through trash or whatever.
So we're not playing it super cool like muckraker reporters who are playing the long game. We're just kind of bumbling in the front door.
Yeah, but we got to try.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, right? We're here to be rejected. Aren't we here to be rejected?
Or they will welcome us with open arms and tell us all their secrets. Should we just go in the front door?
Maybe.
We're hoping to talk to the woman who was interviewed in that New York Times story, or the owner of the company, a guy named Babu, or his son, Jeet.
The woman on our list has left for the day. Strike one.
Yeah. Are Babu or Jeet still here?
Yeah, what are you guys
today?
doing?
So I sent an email, but did not hear back. We are from a public radio station in Boston. We were hoping to talk to one of them. We're doing
a story about glitter.
Doing a story about the glitter industry.
Okay, hold on one moment.
Yeah.
Thanks.
In this front office, by the way, is a big glass case proudly displaying all the products that GlitterX's glitter is in. There's a Star Wars toy, makeup, some other things. So maybe the company's biggest customer isn't really such a big mystery after all. Somebody comes to the door of the waiting area.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Jeet. I'm Amory.
Ben, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm sorry, we're not interested in doing any interviews or anything like that.
Okay,
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, and sorry we didn't get back to your email.
that's okay.
Yeah, we were.
Jeet seems like a kind of nice guy, and he is a Redditor.
So if you're a Reddit fan, you should listen to the show anyway.
Yeah, I'll definitely check out the show.
Are you familiar with the Unresolved Mysteries subreddit?
Yes, I've also read that thread on
That
there.
thread.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
GlitterX article, yeah.
essentially that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're trying to answer this question for thousands and thousands of Redditors.
I
So
can't give you the answer to that.
fair. Can you offer us any advice on how to solve the mystery without your help?
No.
We tried.
We really
They
tried.
did.
Jeet wouldn't budge. He politely sent us on our way.
It was a long drive back to Boston. The next day, we continued to search through the thread of comments on Reddit for clues, and we started calling people, trying to knock a few of the crazy theories out, or maybe catch a lucky break.
And then, Ben caught a lucky break.
Oh, shit, I just talked to the guy who had the answers about glitter.
Here's why I was so excited. While we were looking through theories and failing to get GlitterX to talk to us, I found another Reddit thread, an old one.
This was an Ask Me Anything thread, and it was titled, I'm a glitter manufacturer, AMA.
This is the guy behind that post.
So my name is Joe Coburn. I live in Queens, New York. And currently I own a casting company with my wife. But previously there was a family glitter business that my father started in Germany.
And as it turns out, the Coburn family business has a pretty strange and winding story. A story that is intertwined with the history of glitter and the history of secrecy surrounding the glitter industry.
What I don't get is why keep it so quiet? Like, it's just glitter. It's not life-changing, life-saving, world-protecting anything. It's just glitter. What's the big deal? Why are they like so secretive about it? Why won't they put this information out there? Why won't they talk about who or what type of industry buys their stuff? You know, is it the makeup industry? You don't got to give an exact company. You could just say our biggest buyers are the makeup industry or the toy industry. Why won't they give that information out? It's really weird.
Glitter was invented by a New Jersey cattle rancher in 1934. He was doing some machining work and found that grinding up trash made some particular kinds of trash sparkle. This guy was really secretive, which might be part of the reason that there are a really limited number of companies making glitter, even today.
Joe's family is rooted in the Northeast, with connections to the Garden State, or shall we say, the Glitter State.
And obviously, New Jersey is where the hotbed of glitter is. If you didn't know, now you know.
His grandfather and his father were both in the business of manufacturing various reflective materials, but not glitter. That is, not until his dad was sent to clean up a failed business they attempted to launch in Germany, where he made a fateful discovery.
At this location were 2 old glitter machines.
This was around 1999. Joe's dad didn't know where these machines came from, but there they were, in this part of Germany, which is out in the boondocks, but like translated into German.
Molsdorf, Teichwolframsdorf. In
That's
the
easy to
middle of
say.
nowhere.
Yeah, rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah. And it's kind of like West Virginia. We're talking about single lane road. In many cases, the villages that are nearby, there's more livestock than people.
Even though Joe's dad was way out in Molsdorf, Teichwolframsdorf, as soon as he...
Kind of like where I live. There's more cows in our county, more sheep in our county, more goats in our county than there are people. Um, Interesting, but yes, there are one-lane roads where I live. As in, if there are two big SUVs, both have to go halfway off the road into the ditch line and continue driving so they don't hit each other. That's how narrow these roads are. Like again, like we're driving an Escalade and somebody's driving an F-150. We both have to half the road to not hit each other. Um, Honestly, even smaller vehicles, I've seen this with sedans, where sedans will have to kind of get halfway off the road so they can get around each other. I know what it's like to live in those places, and it's actually pretty peaceful living. Except the jackasses who think they can go down those roads doing 70 miles per hour, hit a bend wrong, and yeah, then the fucking sheriff's out there trying to deal with it. But anyways, I digress. I'm going off topic here. Yeah. Mm, I know what it's like to live in the middle of nowhere, and to find stuff like that in the middle of nowhere actually doesn't surprise me as much as people would think it would surprise them. Um, but especially these towns that used to have industry and they become a ghost town because the factory, shuts down and all you got are these empty factories with a ton of machinery in them. Hell, I'd be having fun. But anyways, back to glitter.
He put out the word that he had some glitter making machines, people were knocking down his door.
My father quickly discovered that when he inquired about how much he could sell these machines for, people were offering large sums of money, mainly to break the machine down and clone it.
How much money are we talking?
We're talking like 120 to 140,000 euros, somewhere in there was a price that...
Just so they could reverse engineer it and make more. Interesting. That's really interesting. I'm surprised that they would pay that much for a glitter machine. That actually surprises me. Most other stuff I don't give a rat's rear about, but that one surprises me. All right, back to glitter.
He asked for and could get. Almost sight unseen.
Almost sight unseen. Joe's dad let prospective buyers view the machines in an old barn through a window, but he wouldn't let them get close enough to understand how the machines worked. This is how secretive people are about glitter machines. Wow.
Why,
Joe's dad sells one inscrutable glitter cutting machine for a hefty sum.
Okay, so basically they monopolized the glitter industry in America. They basically monopolized it, I guess, is the way to put this. Which is, I thought running a monopoly was illegal. Or you could get in trouble for it. Anyways, just some food for thought as we're learning as we go.
He disassembles the other one to figure out how it works, and he builds a glitter company in Germany with a fleet of new machines.
Of the handful of companies making glitter, Joe describes his own family business as almost the black sheep of the group, because it is a secretive industry, and selling those secrets pisses people off. But Joe says it was worth it, because even though most people might not think a lot about glitter, it is a widely used product. And even though the industry is more competitive now, you can still make good money. You used to be able to make bank.
My father compared the margins to cocaine. He just said that it's something that you're selling by the gram for for a lot of money, and the price has gone down with competition. Something that we sell now, we were selling for 3 or 4 times the amount per kilogram.
Wow.
And customers are not buying 1 kilogram. Customers are buying tons of glitter over the
Why do
course
you need
of years.
tons
And
of
so we're talking
glitter?
about lots and lots of weight and lots of lots of money.
In 2011, Joe's dad died, and he and his brother stepped up to run the company. Since then, Joe's gone back to working in the entertainment industry. He says he just wasn't into spending time in the boondocks of Germany. But he knows a lot about the business. And when we asked him about the Glitterex mystery, he had an answer. How sure are you, would you say?
Yeah, so I put it. I'm like 99.9% sure.
99.9.
I'm confident.
Interesting.
Confident Joe in a minute.
There's no one way of doing things. No one written Bank of America Corporation.
Credit. This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start.
Who used to work at his family's glitter company. He understands the industry. Glitter is in his DNA. And he is very confident about which industry is Glitterex's biggest client.
In my mind, it's automotive paint.
Has your family's company ever sold glitter to the automotive paint industry?
Yes.
Ooh, mysterious one-word answer. Yes. Okay. All right.
Okay.
It's, this could be vehicle paint for plane or boats or whatever, but in my mind, it has to be glitter that sits in a liquid medium, requires a lot more glitter. These glitter particles are...
Okay, so paint for airplanes, boats, and cars. And I know there are, again, my dad, one of his better friends, my entire life, did automotive body detail work. So he would do custom paint jobs, custom body parts. Like, dude, I grew up around some of the greatest cars that ever graced the streets of Michigan. Okay. I'm telling you, I have seen paint jobs. Actually, one of the vehicles he painted ended up in the UK. And I had asked my dad about it recently, about 2 years ago. It was a Plymouth Roadrunner. Holy shit, that thing was beautiful by the time he was done. All the decals, all the detail paint was done by hand. No, stick on things sealed in. No, it was hand drawn. And I am telling you, absolutely beautiful, beautiful work. And yes, in a lot of custom paint jobs, the metal flake paint. Yes. And so yeah, glitter's used. Glitter is used in epoxy for the plastics. Um if what I've known people I don't wanna was it a family member or a friend? Someone I grew up with, they took their bathroom countertop and they took it off and they replaced it with an epoxy resin one that had, like, this landscape in it. And, oh my god, absolutely amazing. If I could do a bathtub like that, I'd be in heaven. I would do an ocean bathtub that is just epoxy resin, and I'd be in heaven with it. But, that's when I have money or time to do it. But glitter is frequently used in this as well. Um, then you look at your boats. Almost every boat has some kind of glitter fleck, metallic fleck in it. Um, then, you can get into other industries where it's popular as well. Um, but yeah, I can see where the paint industry would be a massive buyer. Like by the ton, literally, would be buying all these different metals that are the different colored glitters, the different size, like you were saying, Art. Um, it's definitely some man-made countertop materials will have silver streaks and gold streaks, which are probably glitter. Yeah, they're the fake marbles. The fake marbles. I've seen those. And some of the fake granite. They try to sell it off as real granite, but it's not. Seen that as well. Um, yeah, it's again, you got to know what you're looking at. And I remember these countertops and these wall panels way back in the day. It looked like a gold vein through white plastic. They were ugly as hell, but there was a degree of glitter in the gold painting that they used on it. So, yeah, it makes sense. It really does. It does make sense. And then thanks to the disco era, glitter was also a massive industry. So, okay. Now we kind of get an idea. So automotive is one that they're claiming takes up the most it takes up a good chunk of them. So, let's listen in a little bit more.
Are so thin, and the desired effect is not to have particles spread out where you see just paint and then just glitter. The idea is that you see nothing but glitter. If there's space in between, then the effect is not as brilliant. There's a reason that cars in the sun look really nice.
Uh-huh.
This we can work with.
Time to call some car paint companies.
We're pretty big. We are like to consider ourselves the best with color.
This is John Thomas. No relation to Rob Thomas.
And I manage a automotive OEM, which is original equipment manufacturing, color styling lab in Cleveland, Ohio for PPG Industries.
Basically, all sorts of car companies, from Audi to Volkswagen, hire paint companies like PPG to make paint for their cars. It's a long process, and John is responsible for choosing color options, sometimes 5 or 6 years in advance of a new car coming out.
You're like an oracle.
Yeah.
We could just ask you what
you know what we want before we do.
Wow, I have never been called an oracle, or even like an oracle.
Are you going to tell us that Blue Velvet is going to be out, but Ocean Spray is going to be in 2025 or something like that?
No, because that might be revealing too much.
Ooh, a little secrecy from the automotive paint industry. Seems like we're headed in the right direction.
But John says they don't use glitter in their paint, per se. They use something called effect pigments.
Yeah, effect pigments, that's what we're talking about here. In the industry, these are all effect pigments.
Effect pigments, glitter, turns out it's mostly semantics. Effect pigments are basically highly engineered glitter in powder or flake form that add depth and complexity to whatever paint they're in. John is pretty excited about a new pigment made from glass.
Super interesting, super clean. It's a great flake.
It's a great flake.
It's a great flake. And then there's very, very, very expensive flakes. They're engineered to duplicate how color comes off of butterfly wings or insects.
John, I think they should start a new Netflix show called the Great American Flaking Show or something.
Hey, I'm always willing to flake out.
Great American.
Industries that use glitter but are not the top customer of GlitterX. Makeup's a no. Greeting cards, a no.
Strip clubs, also mentioned by glitter conspiracy theorists. There's just not enough complicated societal sexual feelings in the world to make it rain for glitter.
Dumping glitter into resort beach sand to make your Instagram posts sparkle. Humanity is pretty good at dumping trash into the ocean in terrible ways, but we are not doing this with glitter, at least not on purpose. A lot of glitter ends up in the ocean accidentally. Food stuff? Nope.
Currency? Passports? Nah. Pepper spray to help identify people who've been pepper sprayed? We checked. Nope.
One of the more popular shadowy theories is that glitter is used by the military as a cloaking agent or paint for vehicles.
Sounds a little odd to me.
The me in this case is Richard Abulafia. He works in Washington at the Teal Group doing aviation technology analysis.
Been over 30 years of that.
Richard says that glitter would reflect light, which is not a great way of cloaking yourself. It would attract attention, not avoid it. And in fact, he says this is why some planes have used reflective materials as decoys for evasive maneuvering. That stuff is called chaff, and it's reflective, but even chaff is not really glitter.
So you're not convinced that your daughter's packet of glitter is somehow involved in tens of millions of dollars of military equipment, maybe hundreds of millions?
Yeah, not so much, because I think the last time I bought my daughter some purple glitter, that's her favorite color, it cost a couple bucks, and the science of radar-absorbing materials is extremely, it's exacting. It's a strange world, but it really flies in the face of everything I know about radar-absorbing materials and the rather rigorous science that's gone into its development, its production, and its upkeep. It's a really closely held secret. On the other hand, who knows? There are stranger things out there, right?
Damn it, Richard. But also, thank you, Richard.
And here is where we hit another dead end. Like, it's none of these wacky things. We think it's paint, but results from our paint experts are fundamentally inconclusive. We need another authority.
Joe Coburn from the Coburn family glitter business, RJA Plastics, did say he would put us in touch with the current business owner, his younger brother, Alex. It was hard to get Alex on the line from
Molsdorf, Teichville-Framsdorf.
But we did.
And we asked him about his mysterious fleet of glitter-making machines.
We currently have 22 machines.
Do you name any of them?
We do have one machine that has a name.
Really?
Yeah, and that's the devil. So it's one of our oldest machines, and it's been repurposed to cut one certain material that I can't say too much about, but it's the loudest machine and maybe the most robust machine we have.
So much mystery you're creating here, Alex.
So
the
much
devil
mystery.
Cuts a
the
material.
devil was the first machine. It cuts a material you can't tell us about. Is it cutting souls?
No, but it definitely hurts the souls of the operators, so.
We asked Alex why he wouldn't tell us what the devil machine cuts. He said it was a single customer product, and he just couldn't say. Another mystery. But back to our mystery, did Alex know anyone at GlitterX?
I don't know anyone personally at GlitterX. I feel that they may be the most secretive, only because I rarely hear anything about them.
Even worse, Alex told us he was skeptical of the car paint theory, in part because the paint or pigment industry was getting better and better at making cheaper products. Glitter, too expensive. And in fact, he sort of described glitter as an industry that was insular in part because it was in trouble. More and more competition from China and Taiwan, perhaps thanks to the machine that his dad sold decades ago.
Other than the growing competition, we asked Alex about his industry's greatest challenge.
Yeah, I think the biggest is that it's made of plastic. People are recognizing that the glitter falls off either onto the ground or could end up into an ocean. Glitter stays around.
Until, from various industry pressures, it doesn't. which is why Alex's family company is getting into biodegradable glitter to get away from plastics.
Biodegradable glitter. How's that work? If you put it in the washing machine, is it gonna break down? Like, I need some more details here.
Still struck us as weird that glitter as an industry is so secretive. Like, is that just how business works?
Maybe there was another clue in the economics of glitter.
My name is Greg Stoller. I'm a senior lecturer at the Questrom School of Business at Boston University.
First question, what's up with the secretive nature of the glitter industry?
Is there a term for a strategy like this?
It's called good business.
Greg also made a prediction that it's totally possible the answer to our fundamental question is boring. Which, dude, we are in way too deep for this kind of gut punch.
I don't want to cast aspersions at the glitter industry, but my guess is that it's not a state secret in terms of what they're doing. If they're repeatedly dodging a question, if they're now contacted by 3 or 4 more people, or every company in the same industry is equally dodging the same question, that raises my radar to say something is not right here.
Ho, maybe Greg's coming around to our conspiracy theorist point of view.
One of us. One of us. One of us. Oh, I thought you were going to do 3 with me.
No, sorry, just 2.
So
we were really screwed.
So it's not automotive paint. What could it possibly be other than makeup and arts and crafts? Like, these companies buy it, then they break it down into smaller containers, and then they sell it off? Let's find out. Hopefully they'll have an answer.
100 experts had killed theories and given 100 more. The one company, at least the one we knew had the answer, wouldn't give it to us. And GlitterX's biggest customer, still a mystery.
Until our producer Josh got the goods.
I'm sitting across from Josh yesterday. He's on the phone with someone. I don't know who it is. All of a sudden, his fists go up in the air triumphantly. And he's like, yes. And he's like pointing to the phone like he's talking to someone on the phone who has really good news.
And?
They had very good news, Ben. I have a few sources in the paint industry who have gotten as excited about answering this mystery as we have been. And so they've been kind of looking into it on our behalf. And so one of them said their company does buy glitter from GlitterX.
Ooh, okay.
Breakthrough.
But it's not high volume. They were like, there's no way we are their biggest client. But because they are a GlitterX client, this source had a colleague who went to GlitterX as for like a normal supplier meeting, and they poked into it on our behalf.
Oh my God, we got someone on the inside? Josh, well done.
So my source says that their colleague did get confirmation from someone at GlitterX that the largest purchasers of GlitterX glitter are boat manufacturers.
Boat of course.
Bodie McBoatface.
Bodie McBoatface. For the same reason, right? For like glitter paint, basically.
Glitter paint, you can imagine like fishing boats, jet skis, all that type of stuff. Very shiny.
Very shiny. Wait. But this brings up questions.
Yep.
Why does the boat industry care whether or not we know it's the boat industry?
I don't know for sure, but my guess is it's less that the boat industry cares, and it's more that GlitterX just doesn't want to go revealing their clientele to any old person on the street, any old podcast on the street. I think the next step is probably just to call up as many boat manufacturers as humanly possible.
Bring it on.
All right, I love this.
Yeah.
Let's go find some boat people.
And we did. Or rather, we tried.
This call may be recorded or monitored for quality assurance purposes.
Yes.
La 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 la.
Elevator music.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. Sorry.
Matt Rayner
Is not available. Record your message at the tone. When you are finished.
You've reached the voicemail of Nathan Long. I'm unavailable to take your call. Please leave your name, your number, and a brief message. I will return your call as soon as possible. Thank you, and make it a great day.
Eventually, we did find someone who picked up and would totally talk to us.
My name is Brandon Pittman. I'm a technical director, chemist for a company called HK Research Corporation, who makes polyester gel coats for the marine and fiberglass and cast polymer industries.
What is gel coat?
Think of it like a paint almost. It was originally designed in the 50s for just protecting of the fiberglass from water and that sort of thing.
And is it both now? Is it sort of cosmetic and protective?
Absolutely.
Have you ever touched gel coat?
Touched it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got some on my hands this morning.
What does it feel like?
So in the liquid form, it's a viscous paint, about the consistency, I don't know, of a ketchup, if you will.
Okay.
In the cured form, it's a hard shell-like covering on the outside of fiberglass. I mean, you can tap it, and it's extremely hard.
What does it look like? Is it sparkly or
anything that you want? We make solid colors, and we also make clears. And the clears they mix different things into to give different effects, whether it's glitter or an automotive metallic.
So boat manufacturers are buying this coat substance from Brandon's company, HK Research, and mixing it with glitter they've bought directly from glitter companies.
And folks, these boat companies, they are using a lot of glitter.
I know how much boat manufacturers use, especially the bass boat manufacturers. And when I say I know how much they use, I don't know the exact volumes, but I've been in their plants and I've seen the drums of material. And compared to somebody, other users of glitter are like greeting cards and Christmas ornaments and cosmetic industry, the volume is way more that goes into a boat. So I used to work for a bass boat manufacturer back in the 90s, and we bought it in 30-gallon drums, probably 10 of those drums a week.
Whoa.
Wow.
10
That's a lot of glitter.
30-gallon drums of glitter per week.
That is a lot of glitter. Holy shit.
300 gallons of glitter every week, or 15,600 gallons every year, is definitely buying in bulk. And that could just be for one boat company. Industry-wide, we're talking glitter palooza.
Even Brandon's company buys glitter for some of its gel coat products.
There's two main manufacturers of glitter in the United States. One is called GlitterX. The other one is Meadowbrook Inventions.
GlitterX.
GlitterX, and we buy from their distributors.
Okay, and who's the distributor?
I believe their name is Polycryl. They're in outside of Memphis, Tennessee.
Brandon says almost all of the customers he deals with buy glitter from Polycryl. And Polycryl gets its product from GlitterX. Glitter, 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 glitter.
Yes,
glitter.
that's a glitter bomb going off
just
right
now.
now.
Who buys
Yes.
Not beach sand, not military technology, not strip clubs. I was really hoping it was going to be something else.
Like something more crazy? Me too. I was hoping it was going to be in our food, maybe.
Oh, why?
I don't know. It's just funny. But instead, it's something mundane. So, Amory, what have we learned?
We've learned that, yet again, sometimes the journey is just much more intriguing than the destination. I mean, boat paint?
Boat paint.
Boat paint.
Hey,
just
I'll
trying
take
it
it.
out. Getting used to it. Boat paint.
Boat paint.
Boat paint.
The more you say it, the weirder it gets. It gets more satisfying of an answer the more you
Boat
say
paint.
it. Boat paint.
Boat.
okay.
You're supposed to say paint.
Now they're going to get
Paint.
repetitive. So we're going to cut them off.
But we did solve it, right?
They did figure it out. So kudos. It was solved. And evidently at some point the whole glitter shortage thing, turns out, yeah, it's all tied into that article from 2018, and it was for boats. Why? Who knows? I mean, they have a lot of reasons to put it in their boats, but there was a couple of just interesting things to learn along the way. I figured it would something be fun. I'm not feeling great, so I'm probably gonna call it an early day. Um, but I figured you guys might enjoy this, and it's something absolutely worth, the hell of it. Like, this is a questions that need answers. So here we are, getting them, and oh, sorry, I'm really not feeling good today. So um, let's call it early. We had fun. We learned about glitter, how it came to be basically in the United States, and how it is basically a monopoly. Um, but yeah, so thank you, Art. I'm gonna do my best to do so. It's funny as I was doing just fine when I was gaming earlier, and then between game and podcast, my stomach all of a sudden decided it didn't like any food or water that I put in it. So yeah. Um I took some meclizine. I should be feeling better soon. Um, and I took it like 20 minutes before I started the podcast. And that was the second round. I took one pill about an hour before the podcast. It wasn't kicking in, or it wasn't working right. So I took a second dose, and now it's starting to work a little. So I'll drop the links to this stuff in the description for y'all. But yeah, I mean, it's not the most entertaining today, but it was still something interesting. I never knew there was only two glitter, like major glitter people, companies in the entire glitter industry. Like, mind blowing that there's only two. And it's like, wow, that is wild. So, yeah, I'm gonna call it a day, and I will catch y'all tomorrow on Wrecked Sisters at the 3 to 5 Eastern, and I'll be doing gaming probably a little bit in the morning too, between 10 and 1, somewhere in that time, Central Time, so that's 11 and 2 Central Time, Eastern Time. That I'll be doing some gaming on Game Like a Mom. So with that, I thank you all for showing up, being here, and as usual, stay safe, stay sane, stay sober. I truly appreciate those who showed up and those who are going to be watching later on. I will catch y'all on the next one.